Today, we're doing a deep dive that's a little different. We're not dissecting some dense white paper or a complex treaty.
No.
Instead, we're taking one really beautiful, simple piece of source material. It's a personal reflection on learning.
And we're going to use it to look at how you process information.
Yeah,
I mean, this applies whether you're studying advanced calculus or, trying to learn a new language.
absolutely. The source is titled My Own English Memory, and it's just fantastic.
It really is. It offers this surprising shortcut for anyone who's ever felt, just buried in information overload.
The writer is so honest, she admits right up front that she felt she had no talent for English.
Right, which makes the story even more powerful. Because she captures this one perfect, isolated moment where the entire goal of learning just shifts. It's the ultimate aha moment
And it happens in a coffee shop.
of all places.
So our mission today is pretty simple. We're going to unpack this one short anecdote to find this sort of universal principle of effective learning.
A principle that's hiding in plain sight.
Exactly. If you're a learner, you know this feeling, this frustration. You acquire all this knowledge as a subject, but you struggle to turn it into a practical, applied skill.
And this source doesn't just describe that shift. It shows us the exact instant it happens.
It's just so compelling because it grounds this really complex cognitive idea, moving from just memorizing things to actually applying them in a deeply emotional human experience.
So if you've ever felt like you know all the facts, but you just can't seem to use them to create any real-world value.
Then get ready. This is going to be a major paradigm shift.
Okay, so let's set the scene.
Right. So the writer paints this picture for us. She describes herself as an Ajuma student.
And for anyone who might not know, ajuma is a common Korean term for a married or older woman. It sort of has this familiar, almost motherly feel.
So she's a mature student, and she's just going through the motions of her academic life, really focused on the purely transactional side of things.
And that right there is the key to her initial learning state. She wasn't seeking connection,
Hmm.
not at all. She was focused entirely on utility. Her use of English was just functional, designed to minimize effort and risk.
It was about surviving the transaction.
Exactly. Surviving it, not engaging with it.
And we get this great little snapshot of her daily ritual. Every single day, she takes the same trip to the same coffee shop for the same two items,
And they cost exactly 50 cents each.
a small regular coffee and a sugar donut.
That routine, it just reinforces the transactional language. It becomes this closed loop.
I need X and Y.
And the response is, that will be $1. The language works because it's predictable. It's minimal.
She had mastered the facts for that one interaction, but that's it, nothing more.
And that is the danger zone where so many learners get stuck, regardless of the subject.
Oh, absolutely. You can memorize every formula, every date, every piece of jargon. You have the facts.
But if you only use those facts in the transactional necessity of passing a test or plugging in some data, you completely miss the connective potential.
It's like having high-volume data but zero fluency in application.
It creates this illusion of mastery, right?
Yeah.
You know all the ingredients, but you have no idea how to cook.
And she was just focused on the grammar of ordering coffee. She wasn't engaging with the purpose of the language, which is to create some kind of shared human experience.
It was just a cycle of repetition, all
Uh-huh.
designed to limit her risk and maximize efficiency.
But then the universe throws in a little catalyst, a little change.
Yes.
The writer notes that on this one particular day, the weather was just exceptionally bright and cheerful. She uses the word hwachang.
A perfect, clear day.
And this external beauty, this little surprising bit of joy, it gave her a surge of what she calls courage. It made her want to be more daring.
More dabium.
Exactly.
And that external trigger is so important, it disrupts the cognitive autopilot she's on.
It broke the spell.
It did. It broke the spell of the 50-cent routine. It suggested that maybe communication could be more than just, conveying needs. It could be about conveying a shared spontaneous joy.
That little internal push of courage just opened the door for something real.
For a high-risk communication.
Which brings us to the breakthrough moment, the dialogue itself.
She takes the risk. She goes off script.
And this is the moment where she stops seeing herself as a student trying to memorize rules.
And starts seeing herself as a human being trying to connect. She's risking sounding awkward or being misunderstood.
All for the purpose of sharing something that is completely non-essential.
Her attempt was so simple.
Yeah.
Instead of just launching into her order, she looks up at the owner and just says,
It's very beautiful today.
a completely non-essential piece of information for the transaction.
Totally.
but entirely essential for human connection. It's a statement that invites a personal response, not just a financial one.
And the coffee shop owner, who the source says was just quietly drawing something on a piece of paper, like a cup or a mug.
He looks up.
And he replies with a sentence that just shatters her entire world, her entire approach to learning. He says, "There are two beautiful things today, weather and you."
Wow. That is the ultimate Z-level response.
It really is.
I mean, think about the complexity of the documents you have to read, the dense reports, all the jargon you wrestle with, and then you hear that reply.
So simple, elegant, profound.
And her immediate reaction says it all. She thinks, oh my, I understood every word.
And this is the crucial part. She emphasizes that difficult words did not exist at all.
Which brings us right to the core concept of this deep dive.
The A-level words achieving Z-level impact.
Exactly. So let's define that. We see A-level as the complexity of the input. In this case, basic, simple vocabulary. First grade grammar.
And Z-level is the output, the depth, the emotional resonance, the memorable insight that's generated from it.
The insight here isn't just that the words were simple, it's that their application was masterful.
He took a simple observation, the A-level input, and he instantly converted it into this powerful reciprocal complement that created a genuine human interaction.
A Z-level output.
Totally. The simple words were used with this profound intent, and it created something she would never forget.
And that moment of surprise and connection, it resonated so deeply because it was so unexpected, so unsolicited.
She realizes in that moment that he's no longer just a coffee shop owner.
He's an artist. He's Yesel, and he's demonstrating his mastery not by showing off some huge vocabulary,
but through the elegant, unexpected application of common knowledge.
I think the key emotional piece here is that reciprocity. She took a risk, the Daybeam, of offering this small, non-transactional compliment.
And he returned it exponentially. He validated her effort and completely shifted how she saw herself. She wasn't a student struggling with rules anymore.
No, in that moment, she was an active, successful communicator.
And that is the mechanism of the shift. She learned that the goal of learning a language wasn't to collect vocabulary.
It was to use vocabulary to create moments.
It completely changed her metric for success.
Which shifted her entire paradigm. It moved the goalposts from studying the subject to mastering the skill.
And that leads us right into the biggest lesson from that day.
The shift from focusing on the content of the subject to focusing on the method of application.
The core realization she describes is just so vital for every learner in every single field. She realized she needed to learn not English.
The academic subject, right, with its grammar rules and vocabulary lists.
But how to speak English.
The practical skill. The method of connection. The art of it.
So let's connect this really powerful personal moment to you, the learner, who's out there navigating a world of complex data and technical reports.
Because this applies everywhere. Think about data science. Your English is mastering Python libraries, understanding machine learning models, knowing every statistical test.
That's the object of study.
Right. But the skill, the how to speak English in that world, that's knowing which of those 1,000 tests to run and why, and then how to explain your conclusion to a CEO in 3 sentences.
3 sentences that actually lead to a decision.
Exactly. Your 50-cent transaction is just compiling code without errors or printing out a 50-page report. It's functionally successful, technically correct.
But intellectually bankrupt if it doesn't lead to that Z-level insight.
The writer states it perfectly. She says the knowledge was no longer an object of study.
The Hoksupui Desing.
It stopped being something to just categorize and memorize. It started becoming something you use to alter reality.
Even if it's just the reality of a 5-second exchange in a coffee shop.
Right. Or say you're studying chemistry. Your Hoksupudi sang might be memorizing the name for every organic compound. That's your subject knowledge.
But how to speak chemistry?
That's the skill of applying simple principles, like acid-base theory, to design a totally new, efficient process. Or explaining a complex reaction to an investor using only analogies.
So the ultimate measure of your competence isn't the volume of data you can hold in your head?
No. It's the efficiency and the elegance of your application.
The 50-cent coffee transaction was functional, but the $0 compliment generated Z-level value. It created an artist, not just a customer.
And it created a memory that fundamentally changed the course of her learning. Forever.
This whole idea forces you to question your learning methods. Are we just prioritizing input memorizing rules, or are we prioritizing output?
The generation of impact. True mastery is when you can simplify the complex. Or, like the artist owner did, elevate the simple to the profound.
And think about the professional risk here. It's much less risky to just study grammar rules in a textbook than it is to risk embarrassment trying to have a real conversation.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And in the technical world, it's less risky to just keep running the same old statistical model than it is to try a new, simpler approach that might fail,
But if it succeeds,
that could generate Z-level efficiency. She realized that day that the highest value skill isn't knowing the hardest words. It's being able to use the easiest words with strategic intent.
that intentional application, that's the bridge from knowledge to wisdom.
It's what turns academic study into a genuine skill.
So let's bring it all together. What is the main message from this anecdote for you, the listener, as you're trying to process all this information?
Well, the writer leaves us with this very concise, powerful, concluding message for her listeners. Her pension eurobundle, which means friends who listen.
I love that.
It's great. And she just reiterates the core lesson. What we should be focusing on is mastering how to speak English, not just English.
Stop obsessing over the container, the academic rules, the long lists of terms, and start mastering the contents.
Which is functional application, communication. That's the whole takeaway from this Z-level memory that was born from a 50-cent routine.
This source is basically telling us to optimize our learning not for technical perfection, but for connective efficiency.
It's about making sure the facts you learn are immediately translated into usable, impactful wisdom that you can deploy under pressure, just like that owner deployed his compliment, instantly.
And what's so fascinating is how the source ends. It's not a statement, it's a direct, challenging question.
It just asks, do you agree?
And we want to leave you with that provocation.
Think about the field you're dedicated to right now. If true mastery of any subject is only achieved when you can use simple, foundational concepts to create that Z-level impact,
That moment of clarity, that elegant solution, that critical connection.
then what grammar rules are you currently studying that you need to trade for some speaking practice?
What is your 50-cent transaction? You know, the routine, low-risk, minimal application you do every day. And what is the brave die-beam compliment that's just waiting to be said?
The one that could shift your learning paradigm forever.
Because the shift isn't in the material you study. It's in how you approach the deliberate and often risky act of actually using it.
That's the real deep dive. We'll catch you next time.